But more importantly, I think I want my staff to know that I'm willing to get in there and strip linens, and if we're short in housekeeping one morning or one afternoon, and pour coffee or wash dishes or do whatever it needs to take. So I think leading by example is crucial.
Welcome to another episode of Clear Lake Connections, where we talk to the people behind the brands of Bay Area Houston, proudly sponsored by UTMB Health. Okay, we are joined today by Roy Green, General Manager of South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center. Welcome, Roy.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center, please.
Wow, I'd be happy to. How long do we have, Jameson?
We'll edit.
Okay. I'll keep it short and sweet. South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center, located in beautiful League City on Clear Lake, south side of Clear Lake. We've been there for a little over 30 years, about 32, 33 years, built in 1988, and still going strong.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many events I've been to there, and I've been thoroughly enjoyed every single one of them.
Thank you.
What I've always noticed when I go there is you have a team that they recognize me now.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that you do something along the way to really keep your valued employees. Tell me how. I mean,
Sure,
how do you foster
sure.
that?
I wish it was something in a bottle that we served at lunch or something, but it's not quite that easy. Hopefully we do a really good job of hiring people. We want to hire people that have got a service attitude. We want people that are happy to be located here in the Clear Lake area and don't necessarily want to drive to Houston. Nothing wrong with Houston. There's lots of great hotels and places to work in Houston, and the same thing obviously down in Galveston. But there's a nice trade-off of working locally and taking care of repeat customers, like you just said. You're absolutely right. We have a lot of repeat groups and conferences and meetings and businesses that keep coming back to us, hopefully for all the right reasons, that we're convenient. We recognize how important service is, and we've got employees that hopefully live up to that standard still.
Yeah, and the location is just, it's beautiful. I mean, the marina, and I think people forget that we're probably one of the big boating centers along the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're still the third largest. We may be fourth, I don't know, but third or fourth largest in the country. There's close to 1,000 slips, and I think they're running probably 800 occupied slips right now. So it's kind of neat to look out your window and see all those boats and see the water. There's only two, I think this is right, there's only two real hotels that are actually on the water here in the Clear Lake area. South Shore Harbor Resort and another one on the north side of the lake. But it's kind of nice. I remember a tagline from, when I first got here in 1996. Shortly after that, there was someone was using the tagline, "Close to everything, far from it all." So you can really feel like that you're having your meeting or having your event at South Shore Harbor Resort. You're not having to drive 3.5 hours and put your guests or your clients or your attendees on a plane, but they still feel like they've gotten out of the big city, and they can look out and count all 21 of our palm trees and look at the water.
Okay. How has the last year been? It's been, obviously for most industries, it's been difficult, but for
Sure.
the service industry, we know it's been devastating.
Yeah.
How have you kept it together?
There's been times when it's been tough. I'm kind of a passionate person when it comes to talking about my family and talking about my employees, and that we had some tough times. We went from over 120 employees down to less than 50 at kind of the worst point of things last year. And we're building back up slowly but surely. But yeah, I think the service industries, the hospitalities, the food and beverage, all of those took a huge hit when obviously the state was shut down. Different restrictions were put in place. People weren't feeling comfortable getting out at all. And luckily, knock on wood, that's beginning to change. More and more people are getting out, and the phones are ringing. We're getting folks coming in now and booking for the second half of the year. Our weekend business is already picking up, I think, because the warm weather. We've got that great pool out there. Our pool bar is open on just the weekends right now. So things are certainly picking up. I think that another 3 to 4 months, and we can almost begin to feel like things are almost back to normal, hopefully.
Good. You guys are gracious enough to host the New Teachers Luncheon that we do every year.
The big New Teachers Luncheon.
You've said it's the biggest single event you guys have done. Is that
For
a lunch?
For lunch,
Yeah.
absolutely. The big BAHEP dinner is our largest dinner or evening event. But the new teacher luncheon, it's just such a wonderful event. As you well know, I think you've chaired it for the last 15 years.
It's been a while, but what always strikes me is, and you guys, is we always want to applaud you and your staff at that event because you guys do such a good job. But you always seem to be out there working with your staff or directing traffic, one or the other. And
Yeah.
I think you don't just manage people, you get down into the trenches with them and work with them. And
Sure.
I think small business owners can particularly gain from that by knowing that if you're working with somebody, that's one thing. If you're working for somebody, that's something different. Talk about where you learned, I guess, that style of management.
I tell you, I'm a firm believer that we don't even need to open up the front doors of the hotel if the staff don't do their job and they don't do it with some passion and some enthusiasm and don't do it right. And it's those hourly employees that are cleaning rooms and that are pouring coffee and are cooking for us and doing all the other many things it takes to run a hotel. We're there to hopefully provide some guidance and hopefully from time to time some motivation and and just keep the boat going in the right direction. But they're the folks in the trenches that are making it happen. And so I think from a very early age, I was taught to that I need to be willing to do that as well, and I'm happy to do it. And partly sometimes it's needed because we may not have quite enough people to make things go smooth. So I'm there for that reason. But more importantly, I think I want my staff to know that I'm willing to get in there and strip linens, and if we're short in housekeeping one morning or one afternoon, and pour coffee or wash dishes or do whatever it needs to take. So I think leading by example is crucial.
So where did you get your start in the hotel business?
Short version, because it sounds really glamorous, but I did everything. I actually, between my sophomore and junior year at A&M, a friend of our family's had bought a very small dive hotel in the Cayman Islands. And so dive mean people were diving off the rocks, but it was also a dive hotel. It was 13 rooms. But anyway, I worked that summer and cleaned the pool and checked people in and tended bar, washed dishes. I just did everything, and I kind of fell in love with the whole idea, I think, the hospitality business.
And so that's what you got, that totally set you on that path.
It really did. It really
now.
did. I thought I was going to either, I thought I was going to be like a park ranger. I was in recreation and parks at Texas A&M. And my dad always teases me. He says, I'm so glad that you went the hospitality route. He says, I like taking advantage of the discounted rooms versus, getting another update on how many deer or armadillo are in West Texas. So he liked that trade-off.
You're originally from San Angelo?
San Angelo, absolutely, okay. Yeah.
And so you went to A&M, and then that brought you into the hotel business.
Yeah.
And how did you end up in the Clear Lake area?
After leaving A&M, I went to work for Westin Hotels. Had one stop in between, but then went to work for Westin Hotels for 12 or 13 years, and then had an opportunity to come back to Texas. We missed the Lone Star State, and so we headed back and was hired in 1996 as the assistant GM at South Shore Harbor Resort. So I've been in the business, probably close to 40 years, working in the hospitality business.
That's awesome.
So hopefully I've learned some things, huh, Jameson, maybe?
I can tell people you have. I can tell
Thank
people
you.
have.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your community involvement, because I've seen you everywhere. You and I have been part of similar organizations. You're a great volunteer. Is that part of your corporate culture, or is that kind of your own thing that you feel like you need to get involved at the community level?
A little bit of both. I think that obviously if you're going to work for a large business that counts on the community for support, for luncheons and chamber events and fundraisers and things, I think it's important to give back and to serve on a board. It's great to be a sponsor of a hole at a golf tournament. But if you've got the time to do more and serve on a board or a committee or a task force, I think that's important to give back. The old saying, to whom much is given, much is expected. I believe in that and try to live my life that way to a certain degree. This past year has been a challenge because I've been needed at the hotel to do all the many things that 120 people used to do when we had more than half of those, less than half of that. So I've really cut back on a lot of things. I'm involved in Rotary still, but many of the boards and things that I really enjoyed working on when my term was up, I just didn't re-op again. So we'll wait and see perhaps next year where some more volunteering takes me, but I still am involved with the Rotary Club of League City.
Yeah, and there's an important lesson there, not to spread yourself too thin, and
Sure.
pick a few things to focus on. And
Absolutely.
if I remember correctly, in grad school, I took a class, and the book we read basically said the number one reason small businesses fail is because of owner burnout. They try to do everything, they're super involved, they spread themselves too thin. So
Sure.
that skill of learning when to know to say no,
Yeah, absolutely.
extremely important.
Someone once said years and years ago that if you're getting involved in a chamber or a nonprofit or United Way or whatever, if you're getting involved on that, you get your name on the letterhead or on their website. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, and you probably won't be asked to serve again. And so you're absolutely right, Jameson. I think people should pick the 1, 2, or 3 things, just depending on how much time you have. Because if you're going to make a difference, make a difference. Don't attend one every 4 meetings, and take credit for that. So
Well, and I could say you've always been present. So I've always admired your passion for this area. I think you really bought into Bay Area when we introduced that. Tell us what buy into Bay Area means to you.
what's super important, I mean, obviously we're an independent hotel at South Shore Harbor Resort. It would be different if I was a Hilton or a Hyatt or a Marriott or a Four Seasons or what have you. There's different buying powers and certain requirements. But being an independent property, I have the luxury of hopefully shopping around. And it makes a lot of sense when you can, not always. There's no place in League City, or I don't think to buy hotel beds, for example, but there's plenty of things and opportunities that we take advantage of. And a lot of those came about because of relationships either through the chamber or networking opportunities. You just never know. I always tell my people, always carry your business cards with you. And because you just never know when something's going to lead to a piece of business or a referral or an opportunity to purchase something at a better price. And what better way to continue to build that relationship with your business, with a community partner, than to buying from them. And so in fact, recently, I've even tried really, really hard when we have to buy gift cards and things. And no offense to our big box stores and big restaurant names and things like that. But a lot of times these mom and pop operations, that $50 gift card may have made their day. I mean, it could make the difference between making payroll sometimes. So buying locally, shopping locally, when possible, makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you something about that. But first, a message from Sherry Sweeney, Vice President of the Chamber.
Hello, Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce members and Bay Area Houston. There's a big election coming up on May 1st. Many of our cities have city council races happening and mayors. We also have Clear Creek ISD Board of Trustees election coming. We want you to be an informed voter, so we invite you to go to clearlakearea.com and get information about being a Board of Trustee. We recently had a webinar, Education Connections, with Dr. Laura DuPont, who's the president of the Board of Trustees. She explains what it takes to be a Board of Trustee and how to be successful. If you'd like more information about the election, that's also on clearlakearea.com. Make sure you early vote starting April 19th through the 27th. If not, Saturday, May 1st is your day to make your vote count.
And we're back. So what are some of your go-to favorites in this area that when you're talking about locally sourced, what are some of your local favorites for restaurants or whatever?
Yeah. I will tell you that, and I guess we can say these names you've asked me, but I know the hotel, for example, we actually, even though we have a lot of chairs and tables and things, but from time to time, we need to rent extra tables, extra chairs, extra dance floor, linens, things like this. And we also have a referral list at the hotel that we have a list of photographers, videographers that are local. DJs that are local. We use there's two DJs right here in the Clear Lake area that we use every summer, almost every weekend. So we give back in that regard. But the one-stop party shop with the Kieslers, they're huge vendors, and we use them quite a bit. There's restaurants that are local by. Obviously, we've got the Opus Restaurant and Bistro. They're in the hotel now. And so we send a lot of people down that way, and that's been a really good relationship. But a lot of the just local restaurants around the area, there's Perry's, of course, and there's the South Shore Grill. And more often than not, they're usually independent, smaller properties.
Yeah, you talked about Opus. How did that relationship start?
Yeah. Well, Charlie Phelps and his team just do a phenomenal job. And they were down over in just down the road from us, Clear Lake Shores. And it was right there, literally within 2 feet of the water. And so every time a hurricane would come or a storm, whatever, I think they took on some water and, shut things down for a while. And so the old Harbor Club space, we were just using for banquet space. So long story short, several meetings, some discussions, getting the attorneys involved with contracts and things. And they've taken over that space. And I think we're going into our 3rd year. And it's just been a wonderful relationship. Good. They're open in the evenings, 7 nights a week. Their bar is open when ours is closed. And so we look at it as a huge amenity and a huge resource for the hotel.
So do you have any specials coming up that people should know about? It's tourism month, but You've got the summer coming up. So what should people be looking forward to?
Well, I'll say it twice. One at the beginning, one at the end. Be sure and visit sshr.com, and there's a list of. If you click on hotel events, it'll give you we try to keep an ongoing list of everything going on between now and the end of the year. But we've got our first wine dinner actually of the year this Thursday, day after tomorrow. There are 4 seats left, so call me at the hotel tomorrow if you'd like. But it's a really, really nice wine dinner, 4-course meal. But we do those every other month. So we've got one this Thursday. Our next one's on June the 17th with Hess Wineries. And we've actually got one of the winemakers coming in from Napa Valley to talk about the wines. So that's on June 17th. Mother's Day is coming up. We did not do an Easter buffet this year. We felt like that, and we didn't do any of our specialty buffets last year for obvious reasons. And we decided that Easter was just a little bit too soon. But we are moving forward on May the 9th. That's Sunday, May the 9th. So call me. I'm handling the reservations, and so that's exciting. And the last thing I guess I'll plug is we're back doing our sipping sales. We've partnered with the Houston Party Boats. That's another local business. Mm-hmm. They're right there operating out of our lobby, and so once a month on a Saturday, there's a 2-hour cruise, and it's a great deal. It's $55, and a beer and wine and a featured spirit and a little snack bag, cheese and crackers and salami and stuff. So a whole lot of fun. It holds about 50 people each time, and that's once a month. And that starts in June and will run through October. So those are our sipping sales, and all this information is online at sshr.com.
Great. You guys are such an institution. You've always been there. Like I said, the events have always been great. I had my chairman's ball there.
I remember. I wore a kilt. Wore a kilt.
You did. An amazing job decorating. And my wife was like, when the kids get married, I want the same decoration. She wants it done up like that. So I think part of what you do is you create memorable experiences for your guests. And I'm guessing at every level that's what you do. I know with the foundation, we have our gala there, and the honorees get that beautiful harbor view before they go down.
Yeah.
So really, you guys are all about creating experiences and memories.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully that's one of the things we're known for. We don't always succeed in that. sometimes depending on the length of time we have to plan and prepare, sometimes depending on a client's budget, sometimes, if they can see our vision, but we certainly like to at least be able to give options, and we can say, gosh, we can do this, this, and this. And maybe for just a little bit more, we can do a beautiful backdrop or whatever the case may be. So hopefully with our professionals at South Shore Harbor Resort in sales and in catering, and in the kitchen, our executive chef, Grady Kirk, but just our team overall, that we've been there long enough. Hopefully we've seen it, we've done it, we kind of know what works really well. We're open to ideas, new ones all the time. But hopefully we can give people lots and lots of options. So, one of the things earlier I just want to quickly say, I'm so grateful that we do have such a committed staff that have been with us for so long. In the service industry, it's known for a lot of turnover. And you're going to have college kids that are, just there for a summer job or just for a couple of years until they move on to something else. But we've got a lot of people that have been with us for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And so I celebrate that tenure and that commitment, to service. It certainly makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's in business, people undervalue how important it is when you recognize your customers. People love that. Like I feel special when even the server at the table recognizes me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, and I recognize them obviously, but that's remarkable in your industry.
Sure.
So you're to be commended for
Well,
that.
like you said, as many events as you've been to and as many chicken dinners as you've had at South Shore, hopefully they're going to remember you.
That's, yeah.
And you're a memorable guy, Jameson.
Well, let's not take it that far. But, Roy, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of your resort. I'm a huge fan of Roy Green. You guys do such good work. You're always so upbeat. It's a pleasure.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.